Welcome to the Around the Ring YouTube Money in the Bank 2017 review. I am one half of your host, Dave Brown, joined with, as always, your Floyd and Savior, Floyd Johnson Jr. How you doing this morning, sir?
I am doing well. Coming off, we are coming off. I'm trying to think of the word. What's the word they use for John Cena? A polarizing pay-per-view, where some people loved it, some people hated it.
Yeah, it was, I'm not even sure how St. Louis felt, because that crowd was interesting. But we'll go through that. We're also going to give our preview for this coming Friday's Ring of Honor Best in the World pay-per-view, as we totally forgot to do that yesterday on the podcast. Speaking of, if you are new to the show, Around the Ring is a weekly wrestling podcast. We drop every Sunday, and after pay-per-views, we do a review here on our YouTube channel. You can find the show online, aroundtheringok.com. Here on the YouTube channel, if you could click like and subscribe, that's youtube.com/aroundtheringok. And you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. The handle there is @aroundtheringok. So we appreciate you guys doing that. And let's just go ahead and jump right into this pay-per-view. Now, I did not see the pre-show, so what happened in the pre-show match?
Okay, and I'm going to start jumping in the pre-show about halfway through, because it's so much filler. And if you like, I posted yesterday, if you watch the programming regular, the pre-show is useless. And I feel like if you don't watch the show regularly and you're using the pre-show to catch you up, you honestly can wait just to the video vignettes before the pay-per-view.
Yeah,
during the pay-per-view. It just doesn't really add anything. You have three people up there. I'm guessing two know what's going to happen. Renee and Booker T was there today, and they know what's going to happen. So they're trying to say something without saying something. And then you have Sam Roberts, who I'm guessing they didn't spoil and let know who was going to win. And he's trying to give the most WWE-friendly answers with a kind of an internet twist, and it actually sounds really neutered.
Yeah, he does pretty good interviews, but if you ever listen to his podcast, he just always sounds like he is choking on Vince McMahon's penis. I mean, just always, and it's really annoying.
But he talks about wrestling for a living and gets paid for it and doesn't go to a regular job, so...
Yeah, well, yeah, true. His regular job is a daily radio show, and then he does his weekly Sam Roberts Wrestling podcast. So, yeah, I'm happy for the guy.
I had Sam Roberts. I mean, there's nothing wrong with selling a little out, but I know he's not going to bash WWE on WWE programming. And the couple podcasts that I've listened to, he doesn't really bash the WWE at all.
No, he will criticize, but he doesn't rip into them like a lot of people do. And that's, I mean, you don't poop where you sleep.
I was going to say, when they were looking for a voice of the fans, I'm betting that made a difference when he got selected.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, with the number of WWE people that he gets on his show, he's one of a few select podcasts that they let the talent go and be interviewed on. Like, people can go on his show, people can go on Jericho, people can go on probably now JR, since he's back in the family. They can go on Austin's, but you don't really see a currently active WWE superstar showing up on some other podcast where they may or may not be very pro WWE. But back to your point about the pre-show. Yeah, the pre-show, I feel, is completely and utterly useless other than the match.
Yeah, so they do the match about 6:35, 6:40 every show. I've actually been keeping track. So if you watch the pre-show, you can turn it on about 6:30. You'll catch the match, unless they're doing two matches. But if they're just doing one, you can turn it on about 6:30, watch the match as it heads into the show. Because the filler that they give is the same crap they do right before the match.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. If they maybe showed different vignettes, it would make it worthwhile. Like, because theoretically, at least, or going back pre-network, the point of the pre-show was on, WWE.com and YouTube and a few other places to get people interested in seeing the pay-per-view. Now, at this point, they're trying to get people to sign up for the network, though the pre-show is also broadcast on the network. But, anywho, if you're going to do something, you need to make it so it's something different. Don't show the same exact vignettes you're going to show on the show. Maybe show longer vignettes on the pre-show, and then you get shorter ones on the pay-per-view. Something.
And then they do the interview, backstage interview, where they do like ask or whatever. And if it's heels, they ignore every answer. If they're face, they give the most generic answers ever. So it's pointless too.
Oh yeah, the social media center. Oh god, I hate that. That's awful.
And you know what's sad? It was like last night I realized, I was like, I'm sitting there realizing I dedicate 4 hours to these pay-per-views. And generally the first hour is just nothing but WWE fluff.
Yeah, that's why I typically don't watch them. I was making dinner last night when that mess was going on. Actually, no. When that started, I was like, I'm going to watch Supernatural. Because I'm still getting caught up on season 12, which just ended, and yeah, I was just like, no, and then I had to make dinner. So, but anyway, so the match, which match did we get on the pre-show again?
We got the Hype Bros versus the Jobbers, the Colognes, and the Hype Bros won pretty clean. Zack Ryder was selling the knee injury as still an issue, even because he just came off knee injury after 6 months. They were, like I said, they won fairly clean. I truly believe one of them is about to turn heel on the other.
Yeah, I can see that.
No, I don't think this is going to be a long-term tag team. They're doing a good job. They're not really foreshadowing it, but it just seems like it's funny. Like I said, there's a lot of tag. I mean, from the night you have the Colognes. And you still don't have the American Alpha. You had New Day versus the Usos, and then you had the surprise tag match. And so when you look at the tag division, there's really nowhere for the Hype Bros to go.
Yeah, there's really not. The problem with the tag division is there's a team that is missing in action. There are two teams that are really legit. There's another team that is really getting over because they're funny, but then it's also making people realize, oh wait, these guys can actually go. And then everyone else is jobbers galore. So there's a lot of numbers of tag teams. Well, there's a handful of number of tag teams. There's not really a lot of anybody in any of these divisions with the with the brand split. But it's just there's a lot of jobbers. That's the weakest thing. The biggest problem that the tag division in SmackDown has is the fact that you look at their roster and you're like, hey, well, there's this one team that disappeared because they booked them for shit when they first came out, who should be megastars and who aren't. There are these other two teams that have been the two best teams in the company for probably, half a decade. And then there's this comedy team that's really starting to get over. And then there's jobbers. And that's the entire division. And it's kind of sad. But
they can fix it. They can fix it. I mean, with the Ascension, all you would have to do really is you would need some type of angle where I would say, went to... I've always used this as an example. You go to a veteran, say, I've lost my edge. The next 4 or 5 weeks, you have them beat up jobbers. And I'm like, maybe, if you're in that area, maybe bring in who was that tag team that they're bringing in? The Headbangers or someone like that. The Spirit Squad, just have them beating people for a while. You build up their characters, have them get a surprise win against someone, and now you've built them as a legit tag team. I mean, what my problem is when you start losing in the WWE, unfortunately, you never stop. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's like if you have AJ Styles, he has to win every match. He can't, like he lost to Dolph Ziggler a few weeks ago. To me, that's what wrestling should be. You win, you can be a person that wins a lot, but you should still have that random loss every now and then just to, help the jobber always look like they have a chance of winning.
Yeah, it's very rare that people should be undefeated, especially when, in this day and age, most of your matches are, against upper tier, actual main event regular stars, non-jobber kind of guys. Yeah. And it's one thing when it was all squash matches on TV to have people always winning, but the thing with Raw is that it's supposed to be, in theory, pay-per-view level matches, or at least matchups, or, house show level matchups, not just jobber on TV stuff, squashes. Because that's when you and I started watching wrestling way back in the day, all you got on TV was job matches. It was just the squashes.
TV was built to make you go buy a ticket to the actual show.
Right.
And then in the 90s, TV became more the product. And, the actual house shows were more of an enhancement. And now you have it where it's even advanced now, where pretty much TV is just an excuse to try to get you to join the network. That's what it's become recently.
Yeah, pretty much. But speaking of, let's go ahead and jump into this show. The show opened up with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, which I think was a really good choice. And this is the order in which the ladies came out: Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Tamina, Carmella, and Natalya. Both, I thought Charlotte and Becky got pretty good pops. This overall was pretty fun. There were some that, they took some good bumps. And
yeah, I kept hearing rumors all day that there was going to be a sixth person, and I was like, it doesn't really fit. You don't want anyone's first match to be in a ladder match unless they're going to dominate or something like that. So I was glad that they didn't bring anybody new back. It was surprisingly physical. I thought they were going to try to take the easy way out with the women. They took pretty much all the bumps that men had taken. So...
yeah, I mean, and I wouldn't be surprised if those women was like, no, we're going to do this the same way the men do it. Because, at least Tamina, Becky, Charlotte, and Natty would say, no, we're just going to go for it. And Carmella was probably like, well, I got to keep up with everyone else. But she seems like someone who is, even though she has some limited ability in the ring, she seems like someone who will just go for it.
I don't think you can be in the WWE and be soft anymore.
I don't know. There was that Lana match, which we'll get to.
Charlotte, I was very proud of her. She did her top rope move. She did do the backflip that she never hits. She did a front flip with a twist and actually connected.
Yeah, that was cool. It was a nice little twist on her normal backflip.
Like I said, her backflip never hits anyone.
It was basically the sparkle splash is what she did.
Yeah, and she did just like a twisting splash. And she came down, she hit Natalya and Tamina. Of course, those are the best two to take the bump because they are they have a little more weight on them to support Charlotte coming down because she's a big woman. So, that was actually pretty awesome. I thought that was a great spot. I forgot who were the two that took the big bump off the ladder, the first two ever. It was Charlotte and I think Carmella. They were both on top of the ladder, and then they got pushed off. It was some great firsts for this match, and like I said, it was a very entertaining match.
It was, and then the ending was, I think, somewhat like we predicted. Mr. Ellsworth got involved.
It's crazy. I was shooting the shit on the show yesterday. Believe me, I shoot the shit. I come up with my best storylines and stuff. And I said it would be cool if James Ellsworth grabs the briefcase and hands it to Carmella.
And what happened? James Ellsworth goes up there and just a perfectly placed tossing it to her.
Yeah.
And the refs, I love the refs are like, what? He's not in the match. And JBL's just sitting there going, there's no disqualifications. There are no
rules. Everybody's like, this is not fair. I was like, no. I mean, if you want to think of a ladder match, the first eligible participant to get the briefcase wins.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So James Ellsworth climbed it. It didn't say you had to get the briefcase. I imagine if you even doing kayfabe, which I don't like to use that term because it's not my term, but if you're using wrestling logic, as I will say, the contract would probably not say you had to unclasp it from the hook and bring the suitcase down. And it's like, as far as storytelling wise, which most people forget that wrestling is a TV show with a story, that's perfect. It's the most despicable way. She crapped on the women's ladder match. She is now the biggest heel on SmackDown.
Oh yeah, it was it was great. So
if you're trying to build a heel, WWE just did it last night. Carmella will be booed. And we've talked about how she has not been getting a reaction. Even last night in St. Louis, she didn't get very much of a reaction. I mean, her music is a reaction. She will be booed out of the building Tuesday.
Yes, absolutely. So far we're 2 for 2, so that's good with our predictions. There was a backstage interview with Lana with some new person. Whoever that was awful.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, where's Charlie? Unless Charlie is just Raw only, she at least is competent on these interviews.
I think that was Dasha. Is that her name?
Oh, it was painful. That whole thing was painful to watch. We then had the Tag Team Championship match, the New Day challenging the Usos. This was real. This was classic. I mean, these two teams have great chemistry. Someone has got to tell Big E to stop doing these spear dives through the ropes onto the floor because he looked like he damn near broke his neck. I mean, granted, he's one of the few people that has a bigger upper body than Brock Lesnar, so he can survive that kind of fall. But, geez
and
Louise.
That's the whole thing. It looks cool, but it also looks like somebody's getting injured every time.
Yeah. And then there was a spot, there were a couple of botches on this where Big E was supposed to catch one of the Usos for a big ending, and that didn't go so well. But then there was a 3 count that was, I don't think, broken up properly by the Usos.
His referee actually hit the 3 before the Uso hit him.
Yeah, so that was, I'm surprised we did not get a "you fucked up" chant. That crowd was not... St. Louis, they just weren't on point.
It was funny because everybody else, like the home audience, hated the James Ellsworth thing, but they cheered so hard when James Ellsworth got that briefcase.
Oh, well, they cheered when he climbed the ladder and got the briefcase, but then when he gave it to Carmella, they was like, oh wait, shit.
Whoa. Yeah. But I can honestly say on the big ending spot, JBL saved it. He's like, look at that strength on him. He just said how he came back. It's just like you would think, oh my God, they were just trying to show how strong Big E was. But it was a clear botch. To me, I've always said great matches. I have no problem with the occasional botch. I think it adds to more the realism that you're trying to portray in wrestling. Because when everything is super, super smooth, it just looks like a dance.
Very true. Yeah, it didn't bother me at all, really. The 3 count that wasn't broken up bothered me more.
See, and to me, that doesn't bother me because of this. You got the dude jumping, and I watch other sports, and referees mess up all the time.
That is true.
So now if the New Day comes out and says, hey, we got the 3 count, the referee messed up, I think that would add, again, more to the realism of wrestling. I know wrestling's not, of course, real in that case, but I just think you have to play it like it's a real sport. New Japan does it well, and I would like WWE. I know WWE is never going to go full New Japan, but maybe if they can go like 20% more towards New Japan, I would enjoy it more.
Yeah, good call. Okay, hold this thought. My cat is
but in
meow.
the end, we were right and wrong. We said the Usos were going to hold the belts in some despicable way, but they didn't win. We thought they were going to win, but
yeah, that is true. All right, we're going to pause for a second. My cat is meowing at me like crazy and wants out, and no one else is awake. So hold on. Okay. I will be right back. Thanks. And we're back. All right. Usos keep the titles. Despicable Means. It was overall it was a really good match, though. I thought
it was a really good match. Like I said, it was clinic on tag team wrestling. Kofi took most of the brunt and they worked the leg, cut off the ring. It was good, and then the whole idea of the breakdown. I don't know who would fit the character, but to me, if you're going to be 3-on-2, you would try to even up the odds a little bit as far as the New Day and the Usos. I could see this being a spot. If most people don't remember, when the Usos first came out, they had Tamina with them. And, I mean, if they wanted, she's a heel. They're both heels right now. If they wanted to add Tamina to get a little assistance, maybe someone debuts, it just makes no sense for a heel team to go in 2-on-3 and accept that.
True. And they are related. So there's that.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, like I said, they were tied together for I know the first time the Usos won the belts, she was with them. So they were tied together for a good year and a half before she went off on her own.
Cool. And yeah, I will say she did a really good job. She had a good showing in that ladder match, I thought.
I had a friend that was like, she can't work. I'm like, she can work. She works, unfortunately, closer to like a man, very physical style. And when doing her first run, not a lot of people would put up with that, and the WWE didn't feel like anybody wanted to see that type of wrestling. Now we're getting closer to where they're letting the women do more physical stuff. I think she could put on a good match with Charlotte or Natalya or someone that is built for her to have a more physical style with.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. All right, next up we had the Women's Championship match, if you want to call it that. Lana challenging Naomi. First of all, what the fuck is with Lana's entrance? That thing was just atrocious. And then she kept doing that weird dancey things in the ring. It was just so bad. And also, is it just me, or does Lana have a buttload of extensions in her hair? Because her hair does not look natural at all.
See, and I'm like, I guess I was blinded by the hotness, because I was like, I didn't notice any of that. I love her entrance because she comes out, and then when her ring gear, there are a lot of pictures of a lot of different spots her ring gear was caught in, and she's hot, and she's hot. So
well, yeah, true. She is a very attractive woman, but that only goes so far.
I mean, honestly, kind of destroyed me. I mean, because I didn't even notice this stuff you're saying. I'm like, what? What are you talking about?
I hope you did notice how horrible she is in the ring.
I thought to me, I'm using a barometer here. When Carmella first came and was working live shows, she's no worse than where Carmella was. And Carmella has come along. I just think it's going to be working house shows, working TV. She will get naturally better by building a chemistry with the other people on the roster. Naomi runs a very athletic style that requires you to be in a lot of spots, and it requires you kind of to work quickly. So for your first match, that's not somebody I would want you working against.
Yeah, true. Good point.
I mean, like I said, she was bad. Don't get me wrong. I completely agree with that statement. She was bad. But I just, like I said, it was just Naomi. Remember her matches with, who was it? Alexa Bliss when they first started? Naomi runs a jumpy, athletic style. It is very hard if you're not really, really good to work with Naomi.
Yeah, good point. All right, so we then, before the match was over, Carmella did come out hinting at joining the match, making a three-way, and then didn't. And so if we get months of her coming out and teasing, cashing in, and then saying, no. I mean, she got great heel heat for that, so that was really good.
Yeah, I like Lana's finisher. I think it's too much of a power move for her. I would like her. I think since she's going with Ravishing than her, I would like her to go with a Rude Awakening.
Yeah, but hardly no one actually hits that neck breaker the way that Rick Rude did. Because Rick Rude hit it more like a stunner, and most people hit it now like an RKO.
Yeah, and I mean, I get it. I'm just saying, if she just started, it goes with her character to use Rude Awakening.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but that makes sense.
Because she's Ravishing, and then she's Rude Awakening.
Yeah, and her that finisher that she has, the setup is too long, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, what's the point of that hammer lock?
Like I said, it's more of a power move. I could see Tamina using that as a finisher, just using someone that's on the roster instead of someone that is as slight as Lana is.
True. Well, then we had a Fashion Vice vignette, which was super fun. And I always try to see what's going on in the background because they have fun little nuggets in the pictures that they have up on the walls and stuff. But was it just me, or when they played that videotape of the people who attacked him, did you instantly know it was the Ascension?
Yeah, I thought it was the Ascension. Just to point out some things from that, did you see his phone said property of Paulie?
Yes, that was fantastic.
And did you see our boy Arn Anderson made the board?
I did. Yes.
Yeah. He was 80s out, and I mean, he was stylish for the 80s.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
He's been bald since he was like 19, though.
Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah.
And then, so this whole time, every women's match, I kept waiting. I was like, okay, where's Maria? Because, there were pictures that came out earlier in the day of Maria and Mike in the airport in St. Louis. So I was like, where's Maria? Where's Maria?
It makes no sense. They live in Illinois. I figured they would drive.
Yeah. And then, yeah, that debut went over like a wet fart.
They popped. The initial crowd popped really hard. And then when she started talking, they completely died.
Yeah, well, first of all, she kept screwing with her mic. It's like I'm pretty sure that the folks in WWE know how to mic you properly. I'm thinking that is something you're not going to have to worry about.
Well, her mic let me just say, it is a little different. It was more of like the mic they have on the announcers group, but it was feeding to the loudspeaker. I don't know if that made a difference. And like I said, I know no one watches TNA, but she's doing the Miracle gimmick.
Yeah, that's exactly because I watched Mike Bennett's debut on TNA, and when they came out, I'm like, seriously? You, of all the things these two have done together, you're going to go with the Miracle gimmick instead of the Kingdom gimmick? Because the two of them in Ring of Honor were fantastic. And the other thing was, why can't he just be Mike Bennett?
No. To me, I thought that was perfect. In the new WWE world, where they are trying to empower women, when it comes to those two people, who is the biggest star?
Oh, God, yeah, Maria. But even then, here's my thought, and this goes back to something I said yesterday on the podcast. They come out, yeah, there was the initial pop when people saw Maria, and then they just stopped caring. Because I think part of it was a pop of, oh, hey, it's someone new. They would have it would have been much better for the two of them to have spent, 6 months in NXT, build up these new WWE characters, and get a reputation so that then when they come out, because at that point people would know who the fuck Mike Bennett is, because no one in that crowd knew who Mike was. And they kind of were like, oh yeah, Maria, she used to be on TV, right? Kind of.
It's funny, Mike Kanellis, now of course, is the name Mike Kanellis, the WWE owns that name now. That's a good thing, because, they can't own your real name. So by him coming out as Mike Kanellis, that actually works. She worked as Maria Kanellis before, so they don't have a problem with her continuing the same name. They can own the name Mike Kanellis because that's not his real name. And most importantly, it's a role reversal. It is, like you had the Miz Maurice come out, and the Miz is definitely the bigger star, and she enhances him. They're saying Maria's going to give Mike Bennett the rub. By Maria being the more popular person, she automatically rubs Mike Bennett, but they're also presenting a emasculated character of Mike Bennett, who is pretty much riding on his wife's coattails, which is going to make him a heel.
True. Well, you also, Mike Bennett's a good-looking guy, don't get me wrong, but you just look at that couple and you're like, yeah, she has all the power. Yeah. Because it's freaking Maria, and she's just one of those people that just exudes. She has a presence. She just takes no prisoners. There's no effing around with that woman.
Yeah.
And Mike is like, thank you for letting me touch you. Thank you. Please, may I have another? And they're happy together, obviously. And
you hate those kind of men, and that is what they're building on, is that you really hate those type of men. She's going to have control. He has no problem with it. He definitely he loves the crap out of her. So in their personal life, I watched them do a lot of their Instagram and stuff. They have just the amazing type of, the part that they show on video is amazing type of chemistry and get along. So like I said, I can see this going a lot of different ways. Hopefully we get some Ty Dillinger. Maybe that would be a starting feud, because he's kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. Him and the American Alpha are hanging out on some island that no one can see.
Yeah. So here's my real thought with this is, okay, so long term, we know we suspect Adam Cole is going to be showing up in NXT sometime in the next 5 to 6 months.
Yes.
Let's say Adam's in NXT for a year. So let's say in about 2 years, 2 WrestleManias from now, Adam Cole makes his debut. Maria and Mike are still on NXT, or still on SmackDown doing this thing. Adam Cole comes out and he looks at those two and goes, what the hell is this? And basically says, you know what? I know you. I was at your wedding. I know what the three of us can do together. Let's take over this place and basically reform the kingdom.
I have not seen the WWE use really any ROH angles, unless you can tell me different, because I'm not familiar with a lot of older ROH angles. But they generally pretend like ROH didn't have it.
Yeah, well, they do the whole Sami Zayn Kevin Owens thing.
Everything. Yeah, that works. They've been fighting for 15 years, and I think that's more of a Kevin Owens. Getting the kingdom back together would be awesome. Just like when you got Austin Aries, and you got a little bit of Austin Aries and Roderick Strong together before Austin Aries, broke his eye. That was awesome. So I'm like, hey, I wouldn't be against it. As far as Adam Cole, it was funny. Matt Hardy tweeted something out, and it was him, Maria, Mike, and Adam Cole all in a picture, right? And he said, Maria, Mike, welcome to the territory, ... baby.
Nice. Because that was because Matt Hardy was originally in the kingdom.
Really?
Yeah.
So I guess that was a picture of the kingdom. So
yes.
There you go.
Yeah, so that would, oh man, I'm itching for Adam Cole to be there. But it is something, for now, for the people that, the whole argument of stars need to go through NXT before they hit the main roster, which isn't really. I mean, you've had AJ Styles who did not go through NXT, who's had a great run on the main roster. Anderson and Gallows didn't go through NXT, and really, I mean, you could argue that
Nakamura didn't need to.
Yeah, well, Nakamura didn't need to, other than. And NXT really is a great way, just like I mentioned yesterday, is a way to introduce slowly these people to the wider WWE audience.
And that's cool, but with Nakamura specifically, he's so set in his style, it's going to be very easy for people to get tired of him.
Yeah. So next up, we had the world title match, Jinder Mahal defending against Randy Orton, and they brought out a whole bunch of old timers, and they said something about this being the St. Louis Legends or something. And Greg Gagne looked like he would rather have been anywhere else. He was just like, yeah, fuck you, I don't want to be here.
But he's old, and he's old. He wrestled for 30 years, and he's at, or 50 years, and what is he at? A wrestling show, probably the last place he wants to be.
Yeah, exactly. So, what did you think of this match?
I thought they did a pretty good job telling the story of Randy Orton's intensity, but the end of the match was the exact same end.
It really was. It really was, and I liked it. I thought it was a pretty good match overall.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good match. I thought they were physical. I would like to see. And this is my 80s complex. Me and you have this. I would like to have seen more of an old school style, especially with Jinder Mahal. He is very much an old school heel. He's big physical. I'd like to see some chin locks. I'd like to see some stuff that annoys the hell out of people. And, just work a really heel style. You'd be even heel in how you work, because you work this slow, methodical pace that everyone hates.
Yeah, I could see that. That really works with guys who normally fly around the ring and then they do a stop and then they just put on a chin lock.
AKA Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens. Adam Cole does that. Yeah. One time before he turned heel again, he and Kyle O'Reilly had this just outstanding match on Ring of Honor TV. And they kept trading chin locks for like the longest period of time. Like Kyle would not let it go, and the crowd started chanting "Chin Lock City." It was fantastic.
The Sings can really take bumps. I wanted to give them credit.
And
Randy Orton does not take it easy on those bastards.
No. And at what point are they going to get in the tag team division? Because it would be kind of a cool story if they were the tag team champions and the three of them stood there with all the gold.
Yeah, someone threw out there last night John Cena's announcement. He's going to fight Jinder Mahal, and now and then Baron Corbin's going to immediately cash in on John Cena. I was like, that would suck for John Cena to get the 17th title reign, and the title reign only lasts like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I really don't want John Cena to be the one to beat Jinder Mahal. No. I think it should be I think personally Nakamura should be the guy. Yeah, let's build up someone new, because John Cena is not going to be around forever, and you can't keep going back to that well to try to get more ratings. Yeah.
World champion. Whoa.
Yeah, I did like the that RKO through the table spot. That was one of the Singh brothers took that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was great. And they do. Those guys know how to bump. Those guys are really good.
Yeah, the one that was right on the guardrail or whatever. Oh my God! And he just there was no rhyme or reason to how he wanted you to land. He just kind of threw him, and it was your job to land right.
Yeah, that's the one thing. It's like with those two guys, it's almost like Randy does not care about them at all or their well-being, and he just throws them around. Yeah. I'm hoping that's not actually the case, but that's the aura he gives.
Uh-huh.
Next up, we had the Fashion Police, or as they're still being called, Breezango, taking on the Ascension. I fast-forwarded through most of this. This was
watched the whole match, and it pretty much killed the vibe of the show for me.
Yeah,
it was just I'm watching the show. I'm really just came off the title match. I'm really excited. We had the Fashion Files, and honestly, let me say this: I was hoping it was anybody other than the Ascension.
Oh my God, me too.
And I think when it was the Ascension, I was like, I hope this is like a 30-second match.
That's what it should have been. It should have been a 30-second squash. It should have been the Ascension gets in the ring, they do their roar, and then super kicks, something, down, 1, 2, 3, over. Because nothing takes the air out of the room like the Ascension coming down.
And my hope is that this is, they take the storyline and it wasn't really the Ascension. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And first of all, the one guy in the Ascension who has the long hair, he's really balding, really bad, and he needs to shave his head. And then he'll look even more like Christopher Daniels. They got to stop with that war paint. When they were in NXT toward the end, they were basically bikers, and that worked really well. And they need to go back to that.
Victor was an FCW, so this dude's like, he's 36.
Which one is Victor? Is he the bigger one?
The one that's balding.
The one that's balding, okay. And he's actually not bad. And how would have things been different had it been Bram that did not get fired for getting in a fight with Charlotte? And he was the one, because he was originally in there instead of Connor. So how
debuted in 1999.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then we had the main event, the Money in the Bank ladder match. AJ Styles, Dolph Ziggler, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Shinsuke Nakamura, who then got beaten down with a camera by Baron Corbin on his way out to the ring. The other thing is that not only did that Ascension match take the air out of you watching the show, for you, it killed that crowd. And if we learned anything from the Dominion show from last weekend and from Wrestle Kingdom, is you don't need filler matches. You can go from one kick-ass match to another, to another, to another, as long as before that set of really good kick-ass matches, you have some filler that lets people go pee.
Yep.
And so had this Ascension Fashion Police match happened, say, before the world title match, it might have been okay. Then again, had we gone from that Maria Kanellis Mike Bennett thing to that Ascension Fashion Police match, there might have been no saving the crowd at all if you'd done those two things back to back. But I loved Baron Corbin coming out and taking out Nakamura. I thought that was really cool. It added to his character. And there were a few spots that really stood out to me, like the sunset flip powerbomb off of the ladder that Sammy gave to Dolph. I thought that was... Or no, it was AJ gave it to Dolph. Or was it Sammy? Shit, I can't even remember. Dolph took it, and it looked like it sucked. And then AJ hanging from the briefcase doing like chin-ups while he was there. I thought that was awesome. But this was fun.
See, I thought I've been waiting on someone to take the ladder away, someone to climb up, to take the briefcase off and fall with the briefcase. I always thought that would be the coolest way to end, that they are willing to sacrifice everything to win the ladder match.
Yeah, I think there's probably that would be easier with a title, because with the title all you have to do is pull the snaps apart.
Yeah.
With that briefcase, that thing looks like it's kind of cumbersome to get disconnected. And if you're up there, 20 feet off the ground, hanging there, flailing around, trying to hold on with one hand while unhooking the thing with the other hand, that's probably not going to happen. It would be a great visual, but...
I always wondered, if let's say you're on the ladder, you take the belt off the hook, you drop the belt, and someone else catches it. Who wins the ladder match?
Well, if it is a tag team match, whoever wins is which team gets off both titles. I think in that case, I think it would be whoever pulled it off.
Okay. God, it was just a thought process.
Yeah.
Or if they're up there and they're grabbing it and they unsnap it and then it just falls into someone else's hand. I don't know. It just be, to me, these are cool things to do in the future.
Yes. Yeah.
AJ Styles thing, yeah, that would be awesome. He climbs up there just like he did last night. He grabs the belt, gets it off the hook, and then falls with the belt and wins that way.
Yeah. I wouldn't say this was one of the, better all-time Money in the Bank matches, but it was good.
Yeah, it was good. KO was the spot monkey. He was. He took all the big ladder drops.
He really did.
Then he took that suplex on the apron from Sammy.
Oh,
he did the fireman's carry into the ladder. He took that spot. He took another big spot. He was taking all the bigger spots.
Yeah. Oh, you mean that attitude adjustment into the ladder by AJ?
A fireman's carry.
Yeah, exactly.
I would not disrespect AJ Styles by ever saying he did attitude adjustment.
Unless he was doing it to John Cena, and then you call it the attitude adjustment just for the middle finger aspect of it. But yeah, this was fun. Corbin won. So he got, at some point, he got a shiner in that match. He's going to have a very black eye. Yeah,
I watched the after show Talking Smack. And it was funny because they were talking about how he does this thing. Jinder's doing the interview. He walks up and they have an eye-to-eye moment, which was kind of cool. And then they were talking about how hard Jinder works. And he's like, Jinder Mahal kept saying, I'll give the belt to anybody that outworks me. And then Baron Corbin just craps on his interview. He just says, hard work is for people that don't have talent. I just thought that was so awesome. He's such a dick, and he owns that. He says, I have it. I have talent. I don't need abs to break your back. I don't need abs to pin you.
Yeah, he is very much a dick, and from everything I can tell, he's that way in real life.
And you know what? He owns it. That's the whole thing. That's the thing with the Usos and Carmella, and that's the great thing about being a heel. If you own the crap out of people are going to start hating you. The Usos, I mean, I know, like I said, I watch them on social media, and I know that's their character turned all the way up, or excuse me, maybe all the way down, because I think the colored people, when they were coming out with the paint and dancing and stuff, is more of them turned all the way up. This is the other side of the Usos, and it works. And Carmella is, her thing is, I'm willing to win. I'm willing to use anybody. I'm willing to climb on top of anybody to get to the top. And I think, you know what, now that goes with how she won the ladder match, that's going to help with building her character as a heel. And then when, oh God, if she takes the belt away from Naomi, oh, that'll be even better because Naomi is so loved. But I'd like her to hold on for a while. Because, you know what, like I said, giving the Money in the Bank is like holding a title without holding a title.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd like to see that both of them hold on to it for a while.
And it's Ellsworth relevant. I swore, I was like, WWE is not going to know what to do with Ellsworth because they signed him to the contract, and I was like, they're not going to know what to do with Ellsworth after he loses to AJ Styles. I actually like him more than when when they were really just focusing on him being the lovable loser.
Oh yeah, him being Carmella's little bitch is great.
Yes, because that's what that's what I feel most of us would become if someone that hot started showing us that attention.
Oh yeah.
We would do anything for them.
I mean, just case in point, Mike and Maria.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, Mike's an attractive dude, but Maria's gorgeous.
Yeah. I think we hit it all. I think on our predictions, we got everything right. The only thing we missed was the Fashion Police match.
Yeah, because we didn't know what was going on. And, like I said, we said the Usos would win. So, technically, I don't know what it, but we did say they would return the belts in despicable means. I think we won on the spirit of what we were saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we knew the feud would extend. Like I said, I think personally, instead of putting them in a match with the Ascension, having them interfere in that match to try to quote-unquote help the New Day and then end up costing them a match, I think that would have done more for Breezango's character and than fighting the Ascension, which no one cared about. But it was a good time filler.
Yeah, exactly.
And we passed our miles because of it.
Yeah. Well, that was the 2017 Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Now, before we get out of here, we're going to go ahead and preview this coming Friday's Ring of Honor Best in the World pay-per-view. It's one of their bigger events of the year, and this is a pretty stacked-looking card. So it looks like the show's going to open up with an 8-man tag match. The losing team must disband. This is an interesting thing there. So it's Search and Destroy, which is Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, Jay White, and Jonathan Gresham versus the Rebellion of Caprice Coleman, Kenny King, Rhett Titus, and Shane Taylor. I didn't know Shane Taylor had joined them. I suspect the Rebellion is going to win because Jay White is probably done with his excursion and is heading back to Japan. And Shelley and Sabin can still stay together as the Motor City Machine Guns. But this should be a good match.
I don't even know who Jonathan Gresham is, but just from looking at it, the Rebellion, those four need each other, and it works. And they're great in the opening matches of shows. So yeah, that is they're like pretty much your curtain jerker. What is it? Thinking about group.
Yeah. Now, I wonder, with Kenny being on The Bachelorette, I wonder if they're going to try to use any of that goodwill, because tell you what, he comes off as nothing but the nicest guy. Yes, I watched that show. I watched it with my daughter. Shut up. Anyway, he comes off as a super nice guy. So him being a big old heel, even though it fits with this, because they're basically these, especially the three of them, are these three guys who are like, Ring of Honor does us no justice, so screw you guys.
I watched the last 5 minutes of the first season of The Bachelor, and that was just to see who they picked, and that was it. That has been my experience with that show.
It is. So here's on an aside. I started watching it with Skylar, and I was actually, the first thing I watched was Bachelor in Paradise, which is a much more entertaining show. And we both agree that anymore, you almost have to watch at least the first few weeks of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette just to see who's going to be on Bachelor in Paradise, so you can kind of get to know their personalities. But it is, once it gets to the point where it's only down to like a handful of people, it is really, really boring. You need it to be a clusterfuck with all of these different people all acting like idiots. It's like those first weeks of American Idol or America's Got Talent where it's just freak shows, and that's when it's entertaining. But I digress. Anyway, good luck to Kenny King on that show, because it's just kind of cool that he's on there. Next up, we have the Ring of Honor World Television title match. Kushida defending against Marty Scurll. Marty getting his rematch. Kushida's coming in not only with the Ring of Honor title, he is also the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion and the winner of the Best of the Super Juniors tournament from this year. Kushida just won this belt recently. I don't know if they're going to take it off him or not. I don't know. Marty was a great TV champion, so I kind of lean toward putting the belt back on him. But the other thing is, I don't want this belt to start hot potatoing a lot, because that makes it mean less. I don't know. What do you think?
Didn't it hot potato from like whoever, Bobby Fish, Scurll, Will Ospreay, back to Scurll? Didn't that all happen within like a 2-month period?
Well, what happened is Bobby Fish was a champion. Bobby Fish lost to Will Ospreay in England. And then the next night, Marty Scurll beat Ospreay in his debut. So each of them debuted in their home country, and each won the belt. And then Marty's held it since then, recently lost it to Kushida, and he really needs it back, because it's also, with him being in Bullet Club, it makes sense him having the title.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna go with Skrull anyway, just because I think, especially with coming over, New Japan coming over to America, I think they need to go all in on the Bullet Club, because that's what the Americans know. So there you go.
There you go. All right, then we have the 6-man tag team championship match. Bully Ray and the Briscoes defending against Dalton Castle and the Boys. It's definitely time for Dalton to get some gold. I just don't know if I want it to be this gold.
I mean, the only way I see it happen is if Bully Ray turns on the Briscoes, which has to come. I mean, his name is Bully Ray, so it has to happen eventually. So, no, I think right now Bully Ray and the Briscoes are going to go over.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Frankie Kazarian taking on Hangman Page in a strap match.
They gave Hangman Page a clean victory over Adam Cole on ROH TV. I think they're getting behind Hangman Page, and I think he pulls this one off.
Yeah, Adam Page actually has a lot of upside. He is really, really good. And I wish I'd seen that match where he beat Adam Cole, because I know that was basically Adam Cole's send-off. Did he get some good thank you, Adam chants and all that stuff?
Yeah, he very much did.
Okay, I'm going to have to go back and watch that. We then have Jay Lethal taking on Silas Young. They've got a nice little feud going on.
Silas Young has a singles victory and a tag victory over Jay Lethal. The thought process is that Silas Young is in Jay Lethal's head. I think Jay Lethal pulls off this match.
Probably. If it was WWE, Jay Lethal would be guaranteed to win this match.
Well, Silas Young has won 2 over him, which, yeah, WWE wouldn't have done that. Jay Lethal, I think, pulls off the victory, and that's how it's going to roll this one. I actually did a little research, and I actually know the storylines right now.
And this one is also with Jay Lethal going into the New Japan's IWGP United States Championship Tournament. That would give him some momentum going into that. Though, if Silas wins and Lethal ends up winning that title, Silas Young could turn around and say, I've beaten you 3 times. I want a shot at that belt.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Then we've got the Tag Team Championship match. The Young Bucks defending against War Machine. Young Bucks are probably going to keep them.
Super kick. Super kick.
All right. And then we have the Kingdom, Matt Taven and Vinny Marcellia taking on Ultimo Guerrero and El Terrible. These 2 guys from CMLL, because why not? They've got this contract with CMLL, so might as well bring some of their talent up for a show. I don't know anything behind this match other than it's probably a match. That's one thing, a lot of times when you watch Ring of Honor shows, there's sometimes just matches just for matches, and I'm totally okay with that. But I'm guessing the Kingdom wins.
I'm going with El Terrible because I like his name.
And then we have the main event for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Christopher Daniels defending against Cody Rhodes. I'm sorry, I'm not just calling him Cody. I think Cody wins and gets the belt.
Yep, Cody. It's going over, and I'm going to be very excited for him. He has been moving around and doing a lot of things over the last year since he left the WWE, and he really hasn't other than some minor titles, he hasn't really won a belt. This would be his major belt, and it would put ROH out in front because a lot more people know who Cody Rhodes is than Christopher Daniels, and Christopher Daniels is 100.
Yeah, and he was a great transitional champion. It was great for him to get the belt, have it for 3 months, 3-4 months, however long he's had it. And Cody is someone they're probably banking on. I think eventually when Cody decides to make someplace his home, it probably will be, Ring of Honor / New Japan is where he ends up.
I think this is when he makes. I think he wins the belt and then announces it as his home. And, he's going to win by despicable means because, he's Cody. He's the American Nightmare. You don't win straight being the American Nightmare.
No, you do not. You do not. So that is Ring of Honor's Best in the World. That's coming up this coming Friday. We will, if all goes well, we will be doing a review of that on next Sunday's show. Any other final thoughts before we get out of here?
I just definitely Money in the Bank thought was really good. Looking forward to Ring of Honor. I'm going to actually go ahead and order it this Friday to enjoy that show. Hopefully it's the crowning of Cody. I don't give a lot of plugs, but I like when wrestling goes more mainstream. No, you can go to Hot Topic, some locations out there, and pick up your Bullet Club shirts. They're now being sold at Hot Topic. Like I said, I'm not much of a plugger, but anytime we go mainstream, we should support our wrestlers. So buy the shirt. And they did a very NWO type of, they did an NWO YouTube video, like promo style, where it was all black and white for the G1 shows. I thought that was really cool. If you haven't seen it, go check that out. And I think that's about it. Hopefully Raw does not suck tonight. I
agree. And yeah, it's always been obvious, but it's now just glaringly obvious that, hey, we're just ripping off the NWO. And I'm enjoying it. So that's going to do it for this YouTube review of Money in the Bank 2017. For your Floyd and Savior, Floyd Johnson Jr., I'm Silky Dave Brown. And Floyd, I got to ask you, is this all a work?
And through my studies and years of watching wrestling, I have come to the conclusion life is very much a work. Make sure you count it, or make sure you kick out at 2. I can't get that right lately. The statement is, life's a work. Make sure you kick out at 2. We will see you next time around the ring.
Drummer get wicked.